I've been driving trucks for 15 years, coast to coast, day and night. Seen every kind of roadkill, every kind of storm. You do this long enough, the highways stop feeling like real places. They're more like rivers, slow, endless, and full of things that disappear under the surface. But nothing ever rattled me like what I heard on Route 86. This stretch of desert between Arizona and California, it's dead quiet out there. No lights for miles. No towns. Just red rock, sand, and broken down radio towers from the 70s. It was around 2:30 in the morning. I was hauling medical supplies from Tucson to LA, halfway through a 10-hour night drive. I had the CB radio crackling with classic rock to keep me awake. Then it cut out. Just static. No big deal, I thought. Happens sometimes in dead zones. But then I heard something beneath the static. Not a voice at first, more like humming. A slow, low melody, repeating over and over. I turned up the volume. It stopped. Then a man's voice cut through. Clear. Calm. Cold. Driver, if you can hear this, don't look in your rearview mirror. I froze. That voice didn't sound like it came from a radio. It sounded like it was in the cab with me. I looked around. Nothing but empty desert on all sides. Then it came again. Just keep driving. Don't look back. Not yet. My chest tightened. The hair on my arms stood up. I stared straight ahead, knuckles white on the wheel. Another mile passed. The voice whispered, "It's getting closer." I cracked. I glanced in the mirror. At first, I saw nothing but the glow of my taillights against the dust. Then something stepped out of the road behind me. A tall, thin figure. Pale skin. Long arms. No face. Just a stretched, smooth head like melted wax. And it was walking in the road behind me, keeping pace. At 60 miles per hour. I slammed the pedal. The truck roared. I was doing 85, 90, but when I checked again, the thing was still there. Closer now. Its neck craned sideways like it was trying to listen. I shut my eyes. Just for a second. Prayed it was a hallucination. When I opened them, my radio was screaming static, and the dashboard lights began to flicker. The GPS glitched, started spinning, rerouting to a place I'd never heard of. Welcome to Cradle. Cradle? I'd never seen that on any map. Suddenly, the voice came back. Louder now. Urgent. Do not exit the vehicle. No matter what you see. It can't enter if you don't stop. And then headlights. A car up ahead. Parked sideways in the middle of the road. I slammed the brakes. Skidded to a stop. Too late. The truck stalled. Silence. Then knocking. On my driver's side window. I turned slowly. A woman stood there. Mid-30s. Hair matted, eyes sunken. Covered in dust like she'd been walking for days. She mouthed the words, "Help me." But her eyes didn't match her face. They were black. Deep. Too deep. Like tunnels. I didn't roll the window down. I couldn't. Because that voice in the radio, whatever it was, it started crying. Not begging. Not screaming. Just soft sobbing. Please, please don't let her in. That's not a woman. That's its voice now. She slammed her hand on the window. Over and over. Then her head snapped sideways, jaw unhinging, and a long, wet clicking sound spilled out. And then she was gone. Just gone. The truck roared back to life. On its own. I floored it. Drove until the sun came up. No sleep. No stop. I got to LA 6 hours later and refused another night route for months. Here's the part that still keeps me up. Last week, I drove through that stretch again. Midday this time. Sun high. Roads empty. I passed an old, sun-bleached highway sign. It was cracked down the middle, almost unreadable. But I swear to God, it said, "Welcome to Cradle." And underneath it, someone had spray-painted 3 words in bright red. Still behind you. I've been working night shifts as a nurse at a mid-sized hospital in the Midwest for almost 6 years now. You get used to strange things. Half-asleep patients wandering the halls, machines beeping at random, the occasional full-moon chaos. But there's one thing I'll never forget, and I still wish I'd called in sick that night. It was around 1:40 a.m., a Tuesday. Dead quiet. I was posted on the 3rd floor, general medical. Mostly stable patients. Nothing wild. Except for room 209. It had been empty for weeks. No assigned patient, no reason to go in. But I noticed something strange on my rounds. The door was cracked open. That was already odd, since we always leave unused rooms closed. I poked my head in. Lights were off. Bed untouched. Empty. I shrugged and closed it. Exactly 13 minutes later, the call button lit up from room 209. I stared at the monitor behind the desk. 209, call light on. That made my stomach turn. I double-checked the room list. Still empty. No patient. I thought maybe someone wandered in, so I grabbed my flashlight and walked back. The door was wide open. Room was pitch black, so dark it swallowed the hallway light. I stepped inside, flicked on the light. Empty. Bed untouched. No one inside. I checked under the bed, the bathroom, nothing. I assumed the system glitched, so I reset the call light and left. Not 5 minutes later, I passed room 209 again doing meds, and I heard it. A woman crying. Faint, distant, like it was coming through the walls. I paused outside the door, hand hovering near the handle. I wanted to believe it was someone down the hall, but it was too close. I stepped back inside. No one there. But now the bed, previously empty, had a single indent on the mattress. Like someone had just been lying down. I didn't know what to do. I backed out slowly and closed the door again. I told another nurse, Jamie, about it. She went pale. Room 209? No. You don't know. Know what? She explained that 5 years ago, a patient named Margaret died in that room during the night. Nothing medically wrong. She just stopped breathing. The code was late. No one found her for 40 minutes. They said she was holding the call button when they found her. Like she knew no one was coming. They shut the room down for a while after that. But people kept saying weird stuff, patients nearby complaining about a woman whispering at night, call buttons lighting up randomly. After that night, I started documenting every incident from 209. Over the next 3 months, the room lit up on the monitor 9 different times. No one inside. Security checked the wiring. Nothing wrong. One night, a janitor ran out of the room, screaming that someone whispered his name from the corner. A traveling nurse spent a shift in there once during a storm. She quit before morning. But the worst night came during a full moon. The hospital was understaffed. I was asked to sleep in 209 between shifts. I refused, told them I wasn't feeling well, and slept in the break room. That same night, a float nurse who did take the room never came back. She left halfway through the shift. Never clocked out. Her car was still in the parking lot the next morning. All they found in the room? The call light blinking, and a smear of red across the inside of the bathroom mirror, like someone had dragged a finger through lipstick, spelling, "Still waiting." I've worked maintenance and night janitorial at Larimore High for almost 20 years. Small town, nothing fancy. Just a quiet old school with creaky floors, ancient pipes, and more asbestos than we like to admit. I know every inch of it. Every sound, every draft, every busted light, except for one part. The door at the end of the sub-basement hallway, no handle, no lock, just sealed with thick, rusted chains. We call it the old wing. I'd passed by it 100 times, always ignoring it. We all did. The story was that it was condemned after a fire back in the 60s. No one used it. No one cleaned it. They just left it. But then last year, they tore down the elementary school nearby and shuffled some of the old records into storage down in the basement. That's when the principal, Mr. Kohler, asked me to clear some extra space in the sub-basement. Might need to cut the chains off that old door, he said, half joking. Probably nothing in there but rats. I didn't laugh. That night, curiosity got the better of me. I went down after hours with bolt cutters and a flashlight. The chains were heavy but old. They snapped easier than I expected. Behind the door, pitch black, cold, smelled like mildew and something sour. I stepped inside. It wasn't just a room. It was an entire hallway, untouched for decades. Desks, lockers, even old school posters still hanging. Everything coated in dust. My boots left deep tracks. There was a classroom at the end, room 103. Door was ajar. Inside was a chalkboard, desks, even a few books still stacked neatly. It was like someone just walked out one day and locked it behind them. Then I noticed something strange. Every mirror in the classroom was shattered. There was one above the sink, one near the teacher's desk. All broken the same way, cracked dead center, like something hit them from the inside. On the chalkboard, in faded white, "Do not follow her." That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Behind me. Slow. Dragging. I spun around, no one there. I called out. Nothing. I told myself I was just being paranoid. Old pipes, maybe rats. I turned to leave the classroom, and the door slammed shut. Hard. My flashlight flickered. Then I heard it again. This time inside the room. A girl's voice. Soft. Humming something. It sounded like a lullaby. And then, from the back of the room, I saw her. A girl, maybe 15. Long black hair. Standing behind the last row of desks. But she wasn't facing me. She was facing the wall. Her hands were twitching. She started turning, slow and jerky, like her bones didn't bend right. Her face was wrong. Half of it was burned, and her eyes weren't there. Just black hollows. I backed away, heart slamming, whispering, "Please don't move, please don't move." She smiled. Then she whispered, "Do you want to play the game?" I didn't answer. I just ran. The hallway behind me looked longer than before, like it stretched for miles. I didn't stop until I hit the stairs. I didn't look back. I chained the door shut again, and never told anyone what I saw. But it didn't end there. Since that night, I started seeing messages scrawled in chalk on random walls. Don't follow her. She remembers you. The game never ends. And sometimes, after the last bell rings and the halls go quiet, I hear her. That humming. Coming from the vents. I filed a transfer request 2 weeks ago. It was denied. Now I've started leaving a trail of salt around that door in the basement. And every time I check, the chains are a little looser.